What's going on, everybody? My name is Sam Teets, and for the second night in a row, I'm back with a live stream. And this time around, we are going to be checking out the Philadelphia Eagles. We're going to go running through a couple mock drafts on the Draft Network's mock simulator. Of course, for the upcoming 2021 NFL Draft, we're going to see if we can fix the Philadelphia Eagles. This is a team that just a couple years ago was in the Super Bowl, won the Super Bowl, beat the New England Patriots as a backup quarterback. He gave Carson Wentz a massive extension. Now it sounds like he's going to be traded inevitably in the coming days. This is also that recently fired their head coach, Doug Peterson, who was the only coach to win a Super Bowl in their team history. So they're a very interesting crossroad here. We could see a lot of veteran players, including Zach Ertz, most certainly, but also potentially guys like maybe a Fletcher Cox, maybe a Brandon Graham. There's going to be veteran players here who are key players on that Super Bowl team that will not be coming back next year. And just financially makes sense. Alshon Jeffrey will probably be in that group as well. So we're going to see if we can correct the Philadelphia Eagles here with a couple of mock drafts. I will later post them on my Twitter account, which is linked in the description here. And we're going to see if we can fix them. Again, this is on the Draft Network simulator. Now we have picked the Eagles. And we're going to start the draft. I am subscribed to their premium content, so we can do trades if we want to. For the first mock, though, I'm going to ignore trades. So I'm just going to go straight through the first mock using the picks we have. And then after that, we will get into the trade scenarios. So immediately, what I'm looking at here is wide receiver. The Eagles took a wide receiver last year in the first round in Jalen Reagor, but obviously that hasn't worked out great. Reagor, I still think could be a quality receiver, but I always viewed him as a number 2 option, and it's more of a gadget player, playmaker type of player, not necessarily a true number 1 guy. Sort of like a Curtis Samuel. Granted, Curtis Samuel had a good year this year with Carolina. I think he had over 1,000 yards in scrimmage. I'll actually pull up his numbers right now, just for reference. So Curtis Samuel this year, 4th year in the NFL, 851 receiving yards, along with 200 rushing yards, so 1,051 total yards from scrimmage. I think that's something we could see from Jalen Reagor, and Jalen Reagor can also be a return man. He has that little versatility, but I don't view him as a CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson, potentially Chase Claypool, potentially T. Higgins kind of guy where he could potentially be number 1s or high caliber number 2s. I don't have him that same classification. And personally, I think taking Jalen Reagor in the first round was a mistake for Philadelphia last year. And the sooner they admit that they made a mistake, they're probably the better. And it's not, again, not to abandon Jalen Reagor here, but just to point out that he's not going to play to the level that you need him to be a true number 1, to qualify as a true number 1 option, which they don't have in Philadelphia right now, and they haven't had for a while. So that immediately brings up 3 guys I want to look at here: Devonta Smith, Jalen Waddle, and Kyle Pitts. Now, Waddle is maybe the more explosive of this group. He maybe has the pure athleticism that some of these other guys don't have here. He's got the speed. He glides around the field. Devonta Smith, he's the route runner, the technician. He is the Heisman winner for a reason. He's at tons of records. And there are concerns there about his size, not necessarily his height, but his build. He's very light and very thin for someone of his size. So that's somewhat a concern for durability, but he hasn't really suffered that many injuries in college to my knowledge, so I don't think that is necessarily a realistic concern right now. I would be willing to take a bet on him here at number 6. And then you've got Kyle Pitts, who really is a larger wide receiver. That's what he really is. He's classified as a tight end. He's 6'6". He can jump. I mean, he's going to be a mismatch for whoever guards him, safeties, corners, linebackers. It doesn't matter. No one can stick with Kyle Pitts because of his combination of speed and size. And his hands are terrific. He's a good route runner, although he can improve a little bit towards the top of his routes. Same with Waddle. I'm going to roll the dice here and go for Smith because I think Smith is a true number 1 option, and I love his route running and the separation he creates, not necessarily with his straight line speed or just pure athleticism, but the technical movements he has are just incredible. So I like what he's done so far. I'm going to take Devonta Smith here, but I would also like to point out that I said Waddle and Kyle Pitts will be on the board here. Philadelphia will take a look at each of them. And we'll probably also take a look at some of the top corners available. That includes Surtain, however you pronounce the name. I'm still figuring out the names, guys. I apologize for that. Caleb Farley as well. And I wouldn't rule out them looking at J.C. Horn either. So they would look at the top cornerbacks. They would look at Micah Parsons. But there's some character concerns. There are potentially off-the-field concerns. So I wouldn't count on him going here. I'm going to lean towards Devonta Smith, and I think they have to go with some kind of pass catcher here. And if I pause at any point during the stream, guys, to check my phone or something like that, NFL Honors is going on right now, and this is when they announced the new Hall of Fame class. This is also when they announced the end of year award winners, so MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, all that kind of stuff. And they came out and they recently announced that Justin Herbert won Offensive Rookie of the Year. That's really not a surprise. It's a quarterback award generally. But, I think Justin Jefferson could have won that as well. I'll admit that. I do want to see the monologue. I am kind of upset that I missed the monologue. All the TVs in this house are currently occupied, at least all the ones that wouldn't wake people up. So I didn't get to see the monologue, but I will go back and watch that some other time just because I think it's going to be tremendous and funny, and I'm hoping it's as good as it usually is. Their NFL Honors usually do a really good job with the monologues and comedians at the very beginning. So I'm hoping for something funny there to go watch tomorrow morning. But we did get word recently that Charles Woodson is going to be in the Hall of Fame class. That's not shocking at all. He's a first-year eligible player and honestly very deserving. Maybe just as deserving as Peyton Manning for first-year eligibility. And we're looking here at I got the Offensive Rookie of the Year voting here in front of me. Justin Herbert, 41, I think it's 41 votes compared to Justin Jefferson's only 9. I would have thought it would have been more split, but I guess it's a quarterback award. What we're talking about, these are all quarterback awards, all in offense, but I think I personally would have picked Justin Jefferson to win it. So, not a big deal either way, though. They're both deserving. Can't hate on either guy for it. And they're both great players. All right, back to the draft. Philadelphia, pick 38. Offensive line has dealt with a lot of injuries here recently, but they feel comfortable with the left tackle they were playing towards the end of the season. They feel kind of comfortable with him. Obviously, you're not going to put Jason Peters back in that spot. That's not happening. And Andre Dillard, it hasn't worked out for them so far. I know they invested a high pick in him not too long ago, but he hasn't really worked out at that left tackle spot. So I think you're going to have to admit you maybe missed on that one and go with Jordan. I'm going to try to pronounce his last name. I'm going to screw it up. Jordan Mailata. I probably messed it up big time. I'm terrible. Honestly, I watch these guys. I hear the names called during the actual games by the announcers, and I never pick up the names. I need to work on that. But they have a guy who they believe in at left tackle. And obviously they have Lane Johnson on the other end at right tackle. I think they're very comfortable with those guys right now. Guards will be a little bit more interesting. Brandon Brooks is coming back from the season that he missed entirely because of injury. Still have Jason Kelce at center. So I think the offensive line is good enough for now. You don't need to touch that in the early rounds, at least. But looking at the other positions, I would honestly I'd rather take Chaz Surratt than Dylan Moses here. So I'd consider that, but I don't think that's worth an early second-round pick. Try to wait for the third round for that. Tight end, I wouldn't rule out taking someone like Brevin Jordan or the Penn State tight end who's second in the group. I'm not going to try to say the last name because I've screwed up. I screwed it up last night. I'm going to screw it again tonight. But I wouldn't rule out taking a tight end here because you're going to trade Zach Ertz. You like running with those two tight ends, and you will have Dallas Goedert still on your roster. That would mean you'll need that second tight end. So I wouldn't rule out taking a tight end here in round 2 or round 3. But corner and safety have to be big concerns as well. Aaron Robinson's a good corner, but he's got shorter arms. He doesn't have great length. So it's going to be very hard for him to connect with and stick with wide receivers, especially bigger wide receivers. And also jumping and making contact at the point of the catch and trying to fight for the ball there will be a little bit more difficult for him. So I don't really want to go corner there. Instead, you get top safety in this draft class and Trayvon Moehrig from TCU. I'm probably scared of the last name too, but honestly, at this point, we're butchering everyone's names. He's a top safety in this class. Philadelphia Eagles need safety help. You've got Rodney McLeod right now and Jalen Mills on the roster along with Kayvon Wallace, who I liked from Clemson last year, and obviously I went to Clemson, so that's part of the reason why I like him so much. But I do think you need a new starting safety here. I do think Jalen Mills' time in Philadelphia might be coming to an end here soon. So I think you need a little bit of a change up there. I would take Trayvon in this case, and now you have 2 immediate day 1 starters along with Devontae Smith. So you have 2 day 1 starters already in the first 2 rounds. You can't ask for much more. And again, you're kind of entering a new era here in Philly football, especially if you're trading away Carson Wentz. And by the way, if you trade away Carson Wentz, maybe you're going to take your quarterback up there. Maybe you're going to take your quarterback with first overall pick. Man, it's like something we should explore in later rounds, but in later mocks. But there are a lot of possibilities here. I'm getting a lot of. We're going to get a call every single pick. I seen this last night. I'm still curious. Is this what's like really like on draft night? Do you get this many calls? It'd be pretty cool if you did. There's still a lot of good safeties on the board. All right, what do we got? Chaz Surratt's already gone. Yeah, went 64 to the Chiefs. That's a little disappointing. I was hoping to get him. We get those three. You get basically 3 stars there immediately. Running backs were all right because we already got Miles Sanders. Honestly, Miles Sanders should have been getting more carries than he did this past year. And we can get a backup running back later in the draft if we really want one. My big question here is how much do we want to address the offensive line and the wide receiving corps? So we could double down and get in the wide receiver here. Or we could really go and try to take a younger offensive lineman. I just don't know where I go with that. So I still think corner and linebacker are probably the bigger priorities here. Is Greg Newsome available? No, he's gone already. That's tough. Pete Werner isn't bad, but you got Jabril Cox. There we go. That's a pick. That's a pick. I'll look around, but I'm pretty sure that's what I'm going with. That's a good linebacker capable of sticking with guys, good in pass coverage. He will be more versatile than what they have there already. The issue with this is you miss out on taking someone like Elijah Molden or Elijah Moore. Even those two guys are people how I consider taking here in the spot. But I think you have to go to Jabril Cox because you're not going to get another linebacker like that later in the draft. And you can always find corner help in free agency. There are a lot of free agent corners. I guess like Chidobe Awuzie who are available. They're not great corners. They're not great, but they're starting corners. You can get guys like that in free agency and not break the bank. So I think the linebacker is probably a more difficult position to find, especially a coverage linebacker like Jabril Cox. Can you get a shout out from the one viewer? I see the one viewer watching me right now. Whoever you are, put something in the chat. I'll see if I can respond to you. Because I do see that one person who's watching me on YouTube right now. I appreciate that, whoever you are. Let's see. Any updates from the NFL award ceremony? Who has won an award this year? Calvin Johnson has been elected to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. There we go. Tom Flores got in too. Good for Tom Flores. Tom Flores actually had a commercial with Coors Light this year for getting him into the Hall of Fame. He's a 2-time Super Bowl champion, I believe, with the Raiders. He was the head coach, obviously. I think he was the first Hispanic head coach, I want to say, in the NFL. I'm not sure if it's Hispanic or if it's specifically Mexican. I'm not entirely sure. But he's a legend, basically. He's broke some barriers there. And, of course, like I said, winning multiple Super Bowls with the Raiders. He doesn't have the most impressive career record. I'm going to actually pull that up right now. He played quarterback to begin with, actually. Let's put it that way. He was a Pro Bowler at quarterback for the Raiders before going on to being their head coach and then an executive in the NFL. But, yeah, he was their head coach when they were in Oakland, and then they went to Los Angeles. He won 2 Super Bowls, one in Oakland, one in Los Angeles. Only a 97 to 87 career record, so that's not a great winning percentage, but 2-time Super Bowl winner. You have to give him credit for that. So Tom Flores makes it to the Hall of Fame. Calvin Johnson makes it first ballot. Charles Woodson makes it first ballot. It's a good thing to see those guys getting selected. I was kind of not entirely surprised that Calvin Johnson made it first time, but I thought there would be some question as to whether or not he would. But, early retirement doesn't seem to have hurt him. Because he was one of the most dominant receivers I've ever seen. One of the most dominant we've ever seen. Aaron Donald was the defensive player of the year. You gotta be freaking kidding me. I'm sorry, I'm a Steelers fan. That's just disappointing. I really thought TJ Watt should have won. That's disappointing me. Wow. Wow. All right, that kind of kills my mood a little bit. I really thought TJ Watt had that this time. All right. Well, let's get back to the draft. I guess I gotta just ignore that now. That ticks me off. I mean, Aaron Donald's a great player, obviously. I'm not trying to deny that, but I can't believe that. Yeah. All right. Let's see if we can recover and get back to focusing here. We still need a corner. We still need possibly a tight end. And we still need some offensive line depth. We're not really going to get great offensive line depth here late in the draft. Tight ends at this point, I think you would be better off almost going to free agency for one. And like I said, corner, again, that's something you should probably target in free agency. Let's just look at the best players available. This is the 5th round already, so sometimes best player available is the best place to go. Looking through it. Yeah, not a lot here. I mean, you could go Cornell Powell here. I would not hate going Cornell Powell, honestly. Just doubling up a wide receiver that way. Cornell Powell is a good deep threat. He's a good playmaker downfield. But then again, you don't even know who your quarterback is going to be next year, so that's kind of difficult to make that decision. Which is why I guess they got to figure out if they're trading Carson Wentz or not here. Because if they are, you need to know now, so you can adjust what you're doing. Man, press corner, perimeter or slot. All right, I like that. Being able to have a corner that can play perimeter or slot is nice. So we're going to go take a corner here. That's a corner pick for the draft, but it's not a great one. Honestly, I would have preferred to try to get wide receiver, corner, and linebacker that were up at the top of the draft. But instead, we got a safety, which I'm not mad about because we got a starting caliber safety. I still think we could have done better, though. All right, now best available. James Wiggins is out there. I like James Wiggins a lot. I think there's some questions about his fluidity, about maybe being a little too upright, and not necessarily having enough bend to him, not having enough flexibility sometimes to run with wide receivers if he's tasked with doing that. Could go running back here. Tight end still on the board. What are we gonna do? I think you go wide receiver. Did Cornell Powell go in the last couple picks? He didn't. Him and Shi Smith are both still on the board. I'm going to go Cornell Powell here. I know it might be a bit of a reach considering there's some other qualified receivers on this chart right now. But I think giving yourself a deep threat here and doubling up a wide receiver isn't a bad thing. I know they took a lot of receivers last year, though. So that maybe not the best move because they took Quez Watkins last year and John Hightower as well. But I'm a Clemson guy. I like Cornell Powell. I think Cornell Powell is highly underrated. You will not find any Cornell Powell hate from me. Aaron Donald won Defensive Player of the Year voting 27-20 over TJ Watt. Xavier Howard had 3 votes. Now Aaron Donald joins Lawrence Taylor and JJ Watt. He's the only players with 3 Defensive Player of the Year awards. I'm not gonna lie, this pisses me off much more than it should, honestly. This pisses me off. And it really shouldn't, but if it was Xavier Howard that won, don't think I'd be so mad. But I feels like this is very much a narrative thing, where they wanted another guy to get to 3, but then again, you could have said the same thing probably about JJ Watt when he got to 3. So I guess I can't really whine that much about it. I'm putting in a group chat with a Ravens fan and a Rams fan. I have the TJ Watt get snubbed. I'm going to see if that sets off fireworks or not. I bet it will. So I'm going to see if it can stir the pot a little bit there. All right, let's go. Now, Shi Smith is still available. So maybe I could have passed on Cornell Powell there and gone for someone else. Running back. I think we go running back here. And I know I'm skipping some needs at this point, but the Eagles have so many needs, and they're such a crappy division. They could still win next year without filling all their needs. But at the same point, you gotta address them in free agency as well. You're not gonna be able to fill every need you have just in the draft. It's impossible. Jarrett Patterson, Buffalo, by the way, I'm looking at him and Khalil Herbert. These are both very qualified backs. Khalil Herbert's been very consistent at Virginia Tech, improved quite a bit, I think, over the years. And Jarrett Patterson, if you don't know, he's the guy who basically had like 300 rushing yards in one game multiple times, or like 200 rushing yards multiple times this year. So I'm going to take him here and try to pair him with Miles Sanders. I think there's two different kinds of players. All right, round 6, pick 221. At this point, you kind of just go best. I feel like you go best available at some point because realistically, you're not going to, even if you're drafting for need wise, you're not going to get the chances of you getting a high impact player at a need spot this far down the draft is very low. But I think Josh Ball from Marshall isn't bad. I mean, he's got a huge to begin with, and he gives you a little bit of depth, and it's a developmental piece. Obviously, you're not guaranteed to get anything out of doing this, but it's worth a risk in the 6th round. And I understand that I said go best available, but I think Josh Ball is probably worth the pick here. A big guy, developmental. And like I said, if it doesn't work out, it's a 6th round pick. It's not the end of the world. You move him around, see if you can get something special out of him. And back on the board again. Where do we go here? Again, this is a situation where I think if you want to go need-based, you can look at the best players available at the needs you have. I think tight end's not going to be something you're really going to address in this draft. Maybe there are 4 or 5 tight ends that I really like in this draft class, and none of them are going to be available at this point. Drafting on the interior offensive line at this point, maybe just on undrafted free agents, you're not really going to get a huge impact player anywhere down the stretch here. And looking at just who else is available on the board, quarterbacks, unless you want to take Ian Book, who is highly up and down, very unpredictable, I think you pass on that. Mustafa Johnson, interior defensive line, is a quality player. I would not be opposed to taking him in this situation. You also still have wide receivers open. Do you want to take 3 wide receivers in back-to-back years? Probably not. So I'm going to pass on taking another wide receiver unless I just see a name that jumps off the board to me. I think, wow, why is this guy still available? Which I won't, because I've seen this board so many times already. I'm feeling pretty comfortable with it. So Mustafa Johnson needs someone I'm looking at. And we could go corner as well. Double up at corner because that is a need right now. Trey Norwood. Or Cameron Bynum. Outside corner, which limits his value. I want guys who are versatile enough to move inside and outside. I really want both of them. Like I said, I really want both guys. I really want guys who can move around, do a little bit of both, because there's no guarantee like a guy this low is going to hit. So if you can play him inside or outside, I think that's a huge plus. But only being able to work on the inside or only being able to work outside is just so limiting that, why would you want to use a draft pick on a guy like that? No offense, but it is late though. It's very late in the draft. So I think I saw someone I liked here. Let me find. I think it was DJ Daniel was the one I was looking at. So package cornerback and core special teams upside. I'll take that. I mean, this late in the draft, that's worth the pick. It's 7th round. I will take that. Chances are he might not even make the team. So Drew Pearson going in as a senior nominee. Congrats to him. And then, so Drew Pearson's getting the Hall of Fame along with Tom Flores, Calvin Johnson, and Charles Woodson. Derrick Henry is the AP Offensive Player of the Year. That's not a shock. I think we all saw it coming. And Chase Young is the Defensive Rookie of the Year. I mean, now I'm going to be going back and forth with my friends for the rest of the night about whether or not Watt was snubbed for Defensive Player of the Year. I really thought he should have won this year. I am uncharacteristically upset about this. I don't get like this usually, but I am. Oh, that pisses me off. Again, it's nothing against Aaron Donald. It's nothing against Aaron Donald at all. It's just that, Watt. I'm always going to pull for my guys. Watt's a great player. He really deserved to win it this year. All right, well, literally last pick in the draft here. What can we do with this? We've taken 2 wide receivers, 2 corners, linebacker, safety, running back, offensive tackle. The only thing we haven't taken is a tight end, and I really think at this point we're the last pick in the draft, so all the tight ends that are available you could sign as undrafted free agents. I don't really want to go and get one here at the very bottom of the draft if I can avoid it. But then again, like who's out there that you really are in love with that you want to take at this point? I wouldn't be opposed to going out and getting their available safety if I could. It would help if there was draft reports to give me a little bit of an idea of what they needed or what position they played. What about running backs? Nothing really jumps out here. And this is a point where you're kind of like, I know a bunch of these guys, but once you get to the very bottom of the 7th round, even once you get to like the top of the 5th round, I get a little bit more lost. So you gotta bear with me here. If you see someone you really like, they don't guarantee I'm going to jump on it right away. Let's see who's the best player available. Edge and then Frank Darby. I'm going to go Frank Darby then. Wide receiver, that's a position need. And for the 2nd year in a row, we take 3 wide receivers. Well, Philadelphia takes 3 wide receivers. Not ideal, obviously, but given the circumstances, I consider it a risk worth taking. Because the wide receiver group we took last year really didn't add up that much. I'm sorry, I'm scrolling through text here. I'm mad. I'm mad. I'm so mad about that. It's going to throw me off for the rest of the night. You want? I'm going to keep talking here. I'm going to talk with you guys for the rest of the stream, obviously, but I am going to tell you that I'm not drafting right now. I'm taking a minute to see if I can wreck my Rams friend who's telling me why Aaron Donald deserves to be Defensive Player of the Year more than TJ Watt. I'm mad. This pleases me greatly. Why did I look at? I looked at JJ Watt's there. That's not what I wanted. JJ Watt. Steelers of the NFL in sacks. They were the number 3 overall defense. Watt led the NFL in sacks and tackles for loss. He led the NFL in sacks with 15. Tackles for loss with 23. and had 41 QB hits, along with 61 pressures. Which were all more than what Aaron Donald had. I understand that Donald had a good year, but realistically, PJ Watt had a better year. And you can throw a bunch of stats at me. I know you can do that, but I don't believe you're never going to get me to change my mind on this one. This is one of the things I'm going to die. I'm going to die on this hill, even if I'm wrong, which I don't think I am, by the way. Yeah, that just annoys the heck out of me. Kevin Stefanski wins Coach of the Year. Oh, jeez. Come on, man. I understand you won with the Browns, but there were much better coaches in the NFL this year. I mean, I would have given it to Andy Reid, even though they went 14-2 or whatever it was. And they sat all their guys for the last week of the year and then in the Super Bowl. Come on, man. Let's be real. Or give it to Brian Flores with the Dolphins. I don't think Stefanski's good, obviously, for what he did with Cleveland, but I think you could have picked a better winner there too. I don't necessarily agree with that. All right. See if I can focus in. We're going to do trades this time around. We're going to spice it up a little bit, make it more interesting. We're already 30 minutes in. Jeez. 12, a fourth rounder, 7 and a fourth rounder. We'll take this one. We'll let Detroit move up one spot. I can't see the board now, though. This is the problem with this one. I'm going to probably take that trade, unless this one's better. Yeah, I'll move back again. That's probably not going to move back again at this point. It looks like these offers are kind of stupid to go back that far. So got Kyle Pitts, Caleb Fairley. All right, this isn't bad. This isn't awful. I'm willing to work with this. I think you just go Kyle Pitts here and trust that your younger receivers will develop into something, or hope your younger receivers will develop into something. And maybe try to go corner later because Kyle Pitts is really a generational. Well, I don't know if I want to say generational talent, but he's one of the best players in the draft. Probably a top 5 player in the draft, just because of the position he plays. He's not going to go. He's not going to go top 5 overall. So we'll go Kyle Pitts here. I really don't know if that was the right move. All right, 30 overall. They're asking us to go all the way back to 57. I can't do that. All right, what we got? This is not on. We got the top safety on the board again. Where did our linebackers go? Dylan Moses went in the first round. That means all linebackers are gone. Yeah, Josh Rott's the best one available. Eric Stokes at corner. That's interesting. I would be tempted. I'd be more tempted to do that. Who's our wide receivers? Nico Collins. Yeah, wide receivers are gone. Can't get everything you want. I'm going to go, just for the sake of changing things up a little bit, I think it would probably be better to go safety here because you get more value for the pick. But I'm going to go with Eric Stokes here just because they changed it up a little bit. And then I will see if I can trade back up. Oh, we're at 44 anyways. No, I'll just wait. Move back to 56. No, I don't want to do that. Move back to 60. I definitely don't want to move back to 62. That's not going to happen. Chas Rotten's there. Or we can go linebacker or safety here. I think the Eagles are better served with the linebackers they have currently than the safeties. And I think you can fill. There are a lot of free agent safeties this year. Don't get me wrong, but I think you could probably find linebackers, and the linebackers don't play a huge role in Philadelphia's scheme compared to what the safeties do. So I think taking a safety here, especially the top safety in this draft, would probably be the best move. Oh, I didn't recognize the second tight end was available. I took a tight end. I want to talk about it. There's no problem with that. I'm stressing over things now because of the Watt thing. That makes me more mad than I should be. It's thrown off my entire night. All right. They want me to take 77 for. Yeah, I'm going to do this. I want to move up. Jabril Cox is just off the board. That's rough. That would have been perfect. That would have been perfect. Who have I taken so far? I took a safety. So linebacker and wide receiver. Linebacker, we're not touching linebacker for a little while. Now after that. I think looking at the way it is right now, I like Amari Rodgers a lot. I do, but I think he is limited. I mean, look where Hunter Renfrow was taken a couple of years ago. I think that's probably where Amari Rodgers' true value is. So I'm not entirely sold on the idea of taking Amari Rodgers this high in the draft. De'Ami Brown's gotten a lot of attention recently. Can play slot and outside. All right. Yeah. I'm down to him, Sage Surratt, or Daz Newsome here, and Daz is obviously someone I could get later in the draft. So I'd rather take De'Ami Brown here, even though it's a reach, because I understand he's ranked 107. I could probably get him later. I just think that this is a guy you really can't pass up on now because you're not going to get many receivers like him later in the draft. Oh, you could go tackle here. Guys like Walker Little, James Hudson are available, Spencer Brown. So there are pieces here available. Marvin Wilson's available in the interior defensive line. So is Jalen Twyman. And edge. This is interesting. There's some edge guys here. Jason Owe is here. And that's intriguing, but I think Philadelphia is pretty comfortable with some of the pass rushes they currently have. They don't really want to invest too heavily in that when they have needs elsewhere. So, yeah, we'll go Brown here, even though it's a bit of a reach. And I admit that. I'm not going to defend 87 for 111 and 187. Yeah, I'll move up again. I'll do it again. I will do it again. Corner, safety, wide receiver, tight end. Linebacker's the issue. But linebackers, there's just no one worth taking this high up. They're all gone. So I'm not going to address that position until much later in the draft. Hunter Long is available. That's interesting. Total personnel heavy, solid tight end too. Yeah, I mean, look, if Dallas Jarrett's going to be the guy going forward for Philadelphia. So I think Hunter Long makes a lot of sense here. There are guys who I like here. I like Nasir Dean. I do. I like Quinn. Well, I don't like Quincy Roche necessarily, but I think he'll be a good player. He'll be a solid player in the NFL. Mara Rogers is still available. There's some good running backs here, but you don't need to take one of that early when you have Miles Sanders. Is Kyle Trask still available? What round are we in? 3? I guess that makes sense. Marvin Wilson is another guy I would look at. But Hunter Long here, to me, is a solid pickup. And this is why I like trading up in this situation, is because you can get back up and get those guys. Because, like I said, come 5th or 6th round, I don't know most of the players anyways. And the reality is when you're in the 5th and 6th round, you have a much lower chance of actually picking a guy who's going to go out there and make an immediate impact, first off, and second off, even make a long-term impact on your team. So I think trading up is it's realistically a smart thing to do because of what you can get in return. All right, let's look at this trade offer here. Sorry, I'm on my phone a little bit. 107 for 1. Yeah, see, we're only going to go up 9 spots there, and that's just not, to me. That's not moving up 9 spots and giving up a 7th. Oh, it's a late 7th, so it's not exactly like it matters that much. But I screwed up. Marvin Wilson and Sage Stroud were there. Oh, damn it. I didn't realize they were still on the board. If I could have seen the board, I would have made the move. Oh, that's. I wish there was. I think there is a way to see the board when you get that thing pulled up in front of you, or still make the trade happen. I think there was a way to do that. Maybe I just have to pause the draft quickly next time and submit the same trade back, and maybe it will work. But I don't know. I wish there was a more obvious way to pause the draft, or to go and look at the board and then go back to a trade offer. But I could just be dumb and could be missing out on some obvious answer, which is possible. All my Eagles friends are popping off right now because they're talking about a Carson Wentz trade here where he'll go to Chicago for Foles, Tariq Cohen, and was it first, I guess, technically? Something like that. The Eagles would take roughly a $34 million cap for trading Carson Wentz. Would be 44 if they traded after they pay him $10 million roster bonus, which is due March 20th. So they're going to take a huge hit either way. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Trading a deal like Carson Wentz's contract just is not. It's not easy, and it's beneficial maybe to some degree, but it's not super beneficial. And maybe they feel like you need to move on. But if you really want, if Carson Wentz is really the issue, why did you get rid of Doug Peterson? I mean, I think that's the big thing we all have to be asking is why would you get rid of both those guys? I can understand getting rid of one of them, but both of them seems a little bit drastic. Now, I'll point out there's some interesting people here. Kenneth Gainwell's available. James Hudson's a project offensive tackle, but it's an interesting idea. I can't say this guy's name, but I really do like him from USC. I really do like him at safety, but we've already taken the top safety in the draft, so that's not really a need right now. Jamie Newman's here, which would be the interesting one. This is really, I'm making this very clear. If there's a trade that sends Carson Wentz to Chicago for Nick Foles, I mean, Nick Foles pulled off a miracle when he won the Super Bowl. Nick Foles could be a quality player in Philadelphia, but I think Nick Foles is gassed. I think his career is almost over. And I think even though if he's in Philadelphia, he's not going to be the same player he was when they won the Super Bowl. So, just putting that out there. I don't think bringing Nick Foles back adds much of any value to Philly's roster. And I don't think Jalen Hurts is ready. So taking someone like Jamie Newman here could be it would be very interesting. I'm sure Eagles fans would absolutely hate it. So we won't torture them. We won't do it. But it'd be funny. But we won't do it. And Cleveland. I mean, it's a little high for them, Cleveland. Guard. Power running scheme doesn't really fit Philly's offense at this point anyways. They barely ran the ball enough as it was last time around. Last year. Seth Williams, Daz Newsome, my guy, Daz Newsome. Get both the UNC wide receivers. I'm tempted, man. I'm tempted. That'd be huge. But we picked up 2 tight ends. Yeah, I just realized that we did that. I keep forgetting I took Kyle Pitts in the first round. But, 2 tight ends, wide receiver. All right, we're done with pass catchers for the rest of the draft. We have to be after that. Corner. Darius Williams is the guy I picked in the past. Kerry Vincent Jr. is out there as well. Linebacker is still not great. I think safety we're going to be done with for us. James Hudson's still there. James Hudson piques my interest. Tight end, there's really no point in looking at. We'll pull it up anyways. Receiver, I said Daz Newsome already. Kenneth Gainwell, though. Kenneth Gainwell, Jamie Newman, James Hudson. Kenneth Gainwell. Extremely high upside for a 4th-round pick. Extremely high upside for a 4th-round pick. And the issue is we're going to pass on Jalen Twyman here. That's probably the big miss. Him and Dalen Hayes, maybe. Those are guys that I think we could take here. But Kenneth Gainwell is high upside. Actually, let me see. Can I get back? Can I get back into this? Patriots. I want 119. If I give 5, my 5th rounder, and 7th, 5th, my last 7th, can I get back to 119? Can I do that? Yeah, I figured I wouldn't be able to. Let's see if we can get back to 119. I'll be really mad if I missed. All right, Ben Cleveland went. We still can get Jalen Twyman, and that's really what I wanted here. I'm going to laugh if I've been saying this last name wrong the entire time, but this is really what I wanted here. I understand we left linebacker alone, haven't really touched it, but I think you have to deal with that. You're not going to get a late-round linebacker in this kind of situation that's really going to work out well. So it's now Jalen Twyman or James Hudson. I do like James Hudson. I like the developmental guys. I do. But he's a super developmental offensive tackle. Like 2 or 3 years worth of investment to build that guy up. I don't know if they're going to have that kind of time in Philly. 4-3 technique, interior pass rusher. I think it's too perfect. Gotta go there. Even if it's not necessarily popular. Alan Faneca. All right, some positive news for the Steelers tonight. All right, Alan Faneca has been elected to the Hall of Fame finally. Best guard of his generation, by far, I think. So I'm glad Alan Faneca gets in. Some positive news for Pittsburgh Steelers Nation tonight. Another Steeler in the Hall of Fame. I think he's a 6-time first-team All-Pro. So good for him. I'd see if he should have gotten years ago. But some positive news there. No surprise, Alex Smith wins Comeback Player of the Year. I mean, that should be obvious. Even if he didn't have a great year, I think he could say that Ben Roethlisberger maybe a better statistical year, even though obviously it wasn't very pretty towards the end of the season. But Alex Smith came back from way too much. Like Alex Smith could have died from the infection he got in his leg. He could have lost his leg easily from that infection as well. So I think we have to acknowledge that what Alex Smith has come back from to play football and play football at a decently high level is just on something we have not seen before. At least not in a long time. All right, what do we need here? I'm not sure what do we need. I mean, we kind of filled a lot of needs, but what can we get here? Edge rusher. These guys are not like traditional defensive ends, though. Like Darren Jackson's probably going to be like an outside linebacker kind of guy. Well, he's 260. It's not bad. It's not like great either, but Thomas Graham Jr. How many corners do we have? Just one this time, right? Yeah, Eric Stokes. All right, so Graham, someone I'd be looking at here. Lamont Wade is here. That's an interesting one. What pick number are we? Is he's 240 here on this thing? We are pick number 221. And that's in the range. I think we have to troll Eagles fans here a little bit. I'm going to take KJ Costello just because, you know what? You're going to need someone who's a little younger in that quarterback room besides Jalen Hurts. They're both young guys, but, you know, I think you fill out that QB room. Who's the third stringer this year, actually? It's Nate Sudfeld. I'm taking KJ Costello. It's not going to be a popular pick by any means, but I'm taking KJ Costello here in the 7th round. There's high upside for a guy who – oh, was that actually round 6? Oh, wow. This is 7th round. Jeez, I messed that up. But, you know, I think there's high upside for a guy to be taken that low. I think he's got some stuff to work with. There's some traits there that you could potentially get out of him. And we'll go Thomas Graham Jr. here as the next one. I think that's it for us now. But, yeah, there's some things there that I believe in. Alex Smith was not the unanimous choice. 1 vote for Ben Roethlisberger. I mean, I wouldn't be in an uproar about that. I understand why they made the move or why they would make that decision. Because, like I said, Ben had a better year on a team that won more games. But I think we can all understand that Alex Smith definitely overcame more in his comeback. Probably overcame more than anyone has in their comeback in my lifetime that I can remember at the very least. Unless I'm overlooking someone, which I could be. I could just generally be wrong. Wouldn't be the first time, won't be the last. All right, so this is our second mock draft. Done. All right, let's go again. One more. My voice is starting to go again, and it's already 10:12. So we'll do one more, and we'll try and get through this a little bit quicker. And then we'll call it a night. One viewer on YouTube, I can see you. I know there's one live viewer here. I would you can post something in the chat. I'll respond and chat with you for a little bit because A, I'm bored. B, I'm upset that TJ Watt did not win Defensive Player of the Year. I am upset. I think we do the same thing here. We move back 1, and accumulate a 3rd rounder. Actually, let me see if I can finesse something extra out of this. Offer that. All right, it takes a lot to get that to move up. Geez, okay. So we'll just go back to what we had before. Yeah. I'm just leave where it was before and just take this trade. All the fans in my Eagles group chat are freaking out because they think that Wentz is coming back. Or not Wentz. Foles is coming back. They're going to send Wentz to Chicago. Oh, wow. Where are we offering? 1, 2, 3 for 1 and 5. Have to go all the way back to pick 17. I'll take that. I will take the risk because of the sheer amount of draft capital they're giving up to get that high. So move up 3 spots for a 5th rounder, essentially. And a 2022 7th round, which does not impact me at all in this situation. I still see you, one person watching me on YouTube. I see you. You want to put a comment out there, I will respond. But for a 5th round of 3 spots, I don't know who's on the board. I can't see who's still out there. I'll take this. I'll do it. It's a 5th round pick. It doesn't matter much. All right, Kyle Pitts, Rashawn Slater, Christian Darrisaw. There's a lot of guys out here, but none that really blow me away. Kadarius Toney's out here. That's a good move. So I would say Kyle Pitts in the situation would be a good pick. Oh, Rashad Bateman's here too. All right, There's edge rushers here. There's almost everyone. There's edge rushers. There's quarterbacks. There's interior defensive linemen. There's running backs. There's Kyle Pitts. There's great tackles. There's interior offensive linemen, which they need. They somewhat need. There's Zaven Collins. Zaven Collins would be such a ideal fit, or just an ideal player to have in Philly. But you really need to prioritize wide receiver here, I think. So 14 is a bit of a reach for wide receiver. I should have sat tight. Oh, corner. Asante Samuel. It's too early, though, for Asante Samuel Jr. to come off the board. It is. It's too early. Zaven Collins is probably the best. I know Owusu's there, but he's smaller than Isaiah Simmons was last year. There were questions about Isaiah Simmons' size coming out. So I think Zaven Collins here. Even though it's too high. It's too high for any of these guys, though. I put myself in a bad spot here. I could still get Kyle Pitts and move back up again. Hey, Paul is too late. Both guys I wanted are gone. Shoot. All right. Let's see if I can get a deal done with Pittsburgh. I want that. You can have this. 5. So 2, 3, and 5. What if I take a 6? What if I give you a slightly worse 6? If I make it a 7. All right, so a 2 or 3. I give you the worst 3. Doesn't want that one. I'll give you this 3. 2, 3, 5, and 7 for a 1 to 6. Why the Vikings send me an offer? I just took the. Did I miss something? Did I click off of it? Maybe I did. One. Oh, they're asking me to trade up. I see what you're saying. Okay, I traded with Pittsburgh. That's right. No, I'm gonna wait. No, I'm still gonna wait. Yeah, I'll take this because this doesn't affect me, really. All right, so we're on the board. I took Zaven Collins first. I did. Wide receivers. Kadarius Toney's available. That's what we need to see. That's not the same. Jr. is available, and the top safety's available, and Christian Darrisaw is available, and Elijah Fair Tucker's available. This is tough. I've said it all along. It has to be wide receiver, though, right? Has to be at least one wide receiver taken. I believe in Kadarius Toney, so that's where we're going. Offering 27 for 2s and the 6s. What do we pick next? 38. I think I will sit on this one. But I think it's 6-round picks. They're not worth a lot, but I don't want to be out of this draft this early. You know what I'm saying? I want to have picks later on. So I'm going to decline this one and just kind of wait. 30 for. That's even worse than the deal I just turned down. to jump up 2 spots, I think I'll just sit on this one at this point. Yeah, it didn't affect me negatively. Top tight end, is he on the board? Or second tight end? He is on the board. He's probably going to be my pick then. Christian Barmore's out there. That's a really good pick. Gregory. Well, we got two defensive ends who I think will be, or maybe outside linebacker in Jalen Phillips' case, who I think will come in the first round. Greg Newsome, I'm willing to take here, but I would ideally like to wait a little more for him. Top safety again. Yeah, has to be tackle. Has to be tight end here. There are centers, which you eventually will need to replace Jason Kelsey, but I think go top tight end here. Well, top of it, I keep passing over the obvious here. He's not the top tight end in this draft, but he's the top one available. So basically, do I want to take myself out of this draft to get back up to 50? When do I draft again? 70. I don't want to take myself out of this draft. I really don't. So I will offer a 3 and a 6. And it'll be the lower 3, and you don't want that. So I'll offer 3 and the lower 6 for the 2. I feel like this trade machine is the draft machine, the trades in this draft machine are a little bit too easy. Bill Nunn has been selected to the class of 2021. Why do I remember that name? That's a Steeler. I know that's a Steeler, but what am I missing? Scout. That's right. He was the scout who helped out all those years when they were picking all the Hall of Famers. That's right. Okay, I feel better now. I knew. I don't know why I was having so much trouble remembering that. That's good to see he's finally in. Unfortunately, I think he did he pass away recently? I think he did. Yeah. Oh, well, it wasn't too recently. It was 2016, but unfortunately, sometimes what happens with the NFL Hall of Fame or the Pro Football Hall of Fame, you have to unfortunately pass away to finally get the attention you need to get into the Hall of Fame. We just missed Greg Newsome. That's who I was trading up and hoping to get. We just missed him. I'm not taking Sean away. I could take Tyson Campbell here and not feel terrible, but linebacker, we need a corner. That is the one spot left that we desperately need. What about safety? Actually, no, we're going to take the top safety. Sounds dumb, but best safety versus 10th best corner. What are you going to do? Best safety. Oh, Chasserot was available. I could have made that move too. Counter offer. I will trade back up and see what I can get here. No. I'm back and forth in doing this trade because I want to get back up, but I don't know. I want to get corner as well, and I don't know if there's going to be an impactful corner here we're taking. Maybe Tyson Campbell. All right, we'll send this. We'll see what we can do here. Get back up early in the draft. All right. Jalen Chaz just went. But I took a linebacker, so I can't feel too bad about that. Yeah, to Browns, big guard, Pete Warner. Yeah, this is going to be Tyson. Bill Cox out there. That's a good pick for linebacker, but really, we don't want to take 2 of those. As does Zaven Collins only kind of fits. I don't think we want to take 2 linebackers. And corner is going to be a big issue. So, Tyson Campbell it is. Both him and Eric Stokes, both the Georgia corners, are actually pretty highly rated for this draft. But Jabril Cox from LSU just got taken is someone I think will be a very impactful player in the NFL. But then again, maybe it won't happen so much. Maybe it'll take a year or two to catch on. Because there was a linebacker in last year's draft class. I think it was he went to the Chiefs. He was what was his name? It was Willie Gay Jr. Someone I thought would make more of an impact than he did within his rookie year. But I think we could see a chance for these guys make more of an impact later on in their careers. Maybe take a year or two. There are a lot of players the Patriots took last year who I think will be impactful in the NFL, but it could take a year or two before they really reach a point where they can do that. Sometimes these things just take time. No, I don't want to trade back. All right, what do we have? Graham Jr., Austin Watkins, Frank Darby, Mark Wilson, still the usual suspects at this point. Who's the real at running back? Hook Williams and Khalil Herbert. That's pretty good. That's not bad to have those guys available. I think taking a backup running back wouldn't be a terrible thing in this spot. I know we have Boston Scott still on Philadelphia's roster right now, and Corey Clement. That's not bad behind Miles Sanders, but it's not great either. Maybe go wide receiver again here. We only got one. You probably need. Well, you have a lot of young guys though. You don't want to over. You don't want to hurt the younger guys you took last year by stacking too much at wide receiver this year. I don't know. I'm probably missing. You probably want to go with some interior offensive lineman here. Just something I haven't done all night. I think that's probably the biggest flaw of my drafts tonight. Not fixing that interior offensive line, at least not bracing it with some guys or veteran presences, or not veteran presences, but some guys who won't be stars necessarily, but could be backups for a long time. I think it's probably my biggest fault here tonight. Just not addressing that offensive line nearly enough. And you want to know what? We're not going to do it. We're not going to do it in this one. We're not going to do it now either. I think Malik Jackson's going to be gone, I'm pretty sure, this offseason, so you will need someone to have a little more depth on the interior. I don't know. There are some good players out there still that I would be tempted. It would be difficult to pass on some of the guys that I've looked at already. And someone like Booker Williams, I mean, it would be number 3 running back in the committee. I don't know about that. Outstanding number 2. That's probably these 2 are guys I'm looking at here. I'll take Khalil Herbert. I think he's going to be good alongside Miles Sanders. Low depth there at running back. He's also just, even if it's not necessarily a need, he's just a very good player to be taking this late in the draft. So, very good value for the spot he's landing at. All right, we're up again. I'm thinking we go into your defensive line here. So I could go Marco Wilson, the shoe thrower, but I don't necessarily want to. If I can avoid it, we could go wide receiver again. But like I said, I don't want to overstack the wide receiver group right now. There's already a lot of young guys in that locker room. I don't want to add too many young guys. and messed something up. Josh Ball is available. We took him already this year tonight. So I don't know if I don't want to take him again, so I want to try to shake it up a little bit. We'll add Mustafa Johnson, even though I think he's a little undersized, so if I remember correctly. Yeah, 290, 6'2". That's not fantastic. And the length isn't going to help him too much. I don't know. I've looking at that. I still like him, but I can understand why. He's graded as like a 7th round pick now, technically. I can see why. And length can be like, you can be undersized, but as long as you have good length, you can succeed in the NFL. But if you don't have good length and you're undersized, it's hard to fight both. John Lynch finally got to the Hall of Fame. That's good. Good for him. I'm glad to see John Lynch finally get in. He's a guy who I remember being introduced when he was calling games. They would always introduce him as like future Hall of Fame safety John Lynch. And I feel like for whatever reason, I know obviously he's not calling games anymore. He's the general manager for the San Francisco 49ers, but I feel like for whatever reason we got away from the idea that John Lynch was a future Hall of Famer. I don't know why we did, but it felt like we did at some point along the line. So it's good to see John Lynch gets in. I'm just going to read out quickly the full list of Hall of Famers who gets in. Peyton Manning, that's no shock, first ballot. Charles Woodson in, first ballot, that's not a shock. Calvin Johnson, first ballot. Some people thought he wouldn't get in. I think it was pretty obvious he would. Alan Faneca gets in, obviously, finally for him. John Lynch, another guy who's been there for a while, he gets in. Tom Flores as a coach. Drew Pearson as a senior candidate. Obviously, he's played a big role on the early Dallas Cowboys teams, and Bill Nunn as a contributor. So 2 Steelers getting to Hall of Fame this year. Makes up a little bit for TJ Watt not winning defensive player of the year, even though I still think he was the most deserving guy. But oh well. Still a good night. And still a lot of people getting on. I'm sure a lot of people celebrating with their families right now. So good for them. Too bad they don't get the full Hall of Fame experience with the knocking on the door and all that, but I'm sure they're glad it happens either way. But anyways, I will post a link in the description to a tweet with all of these mocks from tonight. You can go look at all of them on my Twitter account, which is also linked in the description. Anyways, guys, thanks for dropping by. I hope to do more of these streams in the future. My voice is going right now. You can't hear that, so I'm talking a lot quieter. But thank you guys for stopping by, and we'll see. We'll see what we cover next time. Maybe I'll do like, what's the team with a good fan base? Maybe I'll do the Chiefs next time, or the Buccaneers. Whoever wins the Super Bowl, I'm sure that'll be active. I can clickbait it then. But thanks, guys.